Welcome to the Easy English with Ethan and Emma. This is where we take a whole load of information, really dig into it, and pull out the key insights for you. Today, we're doing something a bit different, actually. We're not just looking at a topic, but we're exploring how a topic gets taught, specifically within a really thoughtfully put together learning resource. I think this dive offers some really valuable insights for anyone interested in learning or teaching effectively.
Exactly. We're going to take apart the plan for this English language learning channel. It's called Easy English with Ethan and Emma. And we're focusing on how they've structured their very first teaching style episode. It's quite a fascinating look at the pedagogical design.
Pedagogical design, basically the how-to of teaching well, right?
Precisely. How to make something complex feel well accessible.
So our mission today is really to understand the thinking behind this channel's approach. Their big goal is helping listeners get confident, fluent in daily English. We'll break down their episode structure, look at the content choices they made for a pretty important real-world situation.
Yeah, and our source is this detailed document. It lays out the whole vision for Easy English, the different kinds of episodes they plan, and crucially, the full script for that first teaching episode. What's really interesting, I think, is how methodical it is, how they break down a practical skill for those A1, A2 level learners.
Right, the beginners, high beginners.
Yeah, people building those basic communication skills. It's all about making it clear and genuinely useful right away.
Okay, so let's start with that bigger picture then. The Easy English vision. You said the core goal is fluency in everyday English. And they're planning this mix of content, these teaching style ones, around 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then companion style episodes, a bit shorter, maybe 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, and if you think about language learning overall, that dual approach it's pretty smart. It really gets at how our brains learn. Well, you need both, right? You need the structured learning, the teaching part, where someone explains grammar, vocabulary, maybe some cultural stuff. That's the explicit bit. But then you also need that more relaxed, immersive practice. That's the companion style. That's crucial for letting it sink in, for making it feel natural, automatic.
Like how you pick up your first language, almost.
Kind of, yeah. It aims for a more holistic learning environment, and the different lengths are good too. Fits different schedules, different attention spans. Sometimes you want a lesson, sometimes just, a quick bit of practice.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's unpack the structure they're proposing for those teaching style episodes. It seems very clear, very systematic. They've got 5 segments: opening, situational dialogue, in-depth analysis, practical expressions, and then a closing.
Mm-hmm. And that structure isn't just random. It's actually based on how we learn best, breaking things down. Cognitive load theory, basically.
Right. Avoiding overload.
Exactly. You get exposure first for the dialogue, then the detailed breakdown in the analysis, then you get to actively apply the expressions, and finally review. It's a cycle. It helps you remember things without even realizing you're doing, like active recall or spaced repetition. It just builds it in. Especially helpful for A1, A2 learners. Keeps it manageable but thorough.
So it's a deliberate learning journey, not just a list of things. Okay, how do they apply this structure to something practical? Their first topic is how to order food at an American restaurant. That seems incredibly useful and potentially stressful for learners.
Oh, absolutely. And choosing that first really signals their focus.
Right.
Real-world usability. Dining out happens everywhere, right? But doing it in a new language with all the little cultural bits like tipping or just understanding the menu can be really nerve-wracking.
Definitely.
So by tackling this common scenario, they're giving learners something they can use almost immediately. It builds confidence because it's practical. It's not just grammar rules. It's a social script.
The social script, I like that. Okay, so the structure starts with this 5-minute situational dialogue. It simulates being a diner, but they mention presenting it at normal speed. Isn't that potentially a bit much for A1, A2?
That's a really good point. And it's actually a very deliberate pedagogical choice. It might feel fast at first, yes, but exposing learners to natural speed, the real rhythm and intonation of conversation is vital, even if you don't catch every word initially.
Okay, so it's about tuning the ear.
Exactly. Your brain starts mapping how the language actually sounds. It helps you move beyond that slow, careful textbook English. And the dialogue itself covers the whole experience, doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems pretty comprehensive. Server greeting, how many in your party, getting seated, taking the order.
And specific orders, too, like a cheeseburger cooked medium, a salad with dressing on the side. These aren't just random items.
Right, they're common examples. And then paying, asking for the bill, getting the receipt. It's quite detailed.
That detail provides context. It mirrors what you'd actually encounter. It's like, okay, here's the real situation, but don't worry, we're going to break it down next.
Which brings us to the in-depth analysis. That's planned for 10 minutes, the longest segment. This is where they dissect that dialogue.
Yes, precisely, line by line. And it's not just defining words. They explain the phrases, the common expressions,
Mm.
and crucially, the why behind them, the cultural context.
Okay, like what? Give me an example from their plan.
Sure. So, how many in your party? They clarify that just means how many people are with you.
Yep.
Simple, but necessary. Or the really key one, how would you like that cooked? They explain the whole range, rare, medium, medium, well, well done. That's essential info.
Absolutely, you need to know that.
And practical tips, like why you might ask for dressing on the side, to control how much you get. Useful for preference, or maybe diet. Other bits too, like anything else. When the server asks if you want more, and how to politely say no with "we're all set," and they clarify vocabulary differences, like bill versus check. They'd point out that in the U.S., you'll almost always hear check.
Ah, that's a good practical distinction.
It really is. So this analysis ensures you don't just hear the dialogue, you understand the meaning, the usage, the little nuances needed to actually use it yourself.
Right, understanding the function of the language in that situation. Okay, so after understanding comes using it. That leads to the practical expressions segment. 5 minutes. This sounds like where you, the learner, get equipped to actually speak.
Exactly. This is all about active production, moving from just understanding to actually saying things. So they focus on more polite, natural ways to order instead of maybe a blunt, they teach, I'll have the chicken sandwich, please.
Much better.
Or I'd like the grilled chicken salad.
Yeah.
It's just, smoother, more culturally appropriate.
Mhm.
And really important stuff like how to talk about allergies. I'm allergic to nuts, or dietary needs. I'm vegetarian. Things you absolutely need to communicate clearly.
Critical information, yeah.
And then other useful phrases for managing the whole interaction. Could I see the menu, please? What are the specials? Asking for recommendations. Can I get a refill? And that essential, can we have the bill check, please, Tez? The idea is to give learners flexible templates they can adapt, and they'd likely encourage mimicking the phrases to get the pronunciation right.
Building confidence and providing the actual tools. Okay, makes sense. Then finally, the closing segment. 3 minutes. Wrapping it all up.
Yeah, it's a quick summary and reinforcement. They recap the main points. Use polite language, be clear, don't be afraid to ask questions, just reinforcing those key takeaways. And it also does something clever. It previews the next topic. In this case, ordering at a fast food restaurant.
Ah, so it keeps you engaged, wanting to come back.
Exactly. Builds anticipation. And then there's that community building aspect, asking a question like, what's your favorite restaurant? Let us know.
Ah.
That encourages interaction, makes the learning feel more personal, less like just a lesson, and more like, a shared journey.
So looking back at this whole plan, today we've really unpacked the blueprint for an English learning experience. We explored how Easy English has structured this first teaching episode on ordering food. And it really seems like a very thoughtful, layered approach, designed specifically to help those A1, A2 learners feel more capable in a real-world situation.
Absolutely. And what I think, is how valuable knowledge becomes when it's structured for understanding and application. By looking at their clear segments, immersion, analysis, practice, we see a model for how you could break down almost any complex interaction. It's that kind of systematic, pedagogically sound design that really helps people move towards fluency. It gives them the tools, not just the facts.
So for you listening, maybe think about how you approach learning something new. Could be anything, another language, a technical skill, maybe even a hobby. Could you apply a similar approach? Break it down into exposure, analysis, practice. What everyday scenarios in your life could use this kind of step-by-step deconstruction to help you master them?
Yeah, it's a powerful way to think about learning. Recognizing effective structures like this one can genuinely improve how you absorb information in any field. It makes the whole process more efficient, more engaging, and really prepares you for putting that knowledge to use. So next time you're facing something new, maybe try building your own little situational dialogue and figuring out the practical expressions you'll need. It could make a real difference.